So here we have the winners finals of the Gold Division SmallTourneys AOE2. These players, or the bracket limit for the Gold Division was 1300 to 1500 elo, so that's what we're seeing at work here. I'm assuming these players are in the possibly in the higher or around the 1400 1500s then, but if you want to know the current rank and elo, rank or elo, you should try !rank or !elo and the player's nickname, and it should show up in chat if they have recent 1v1s. So there we go, there's full sender 1511, thanks. And we see him with the sheep and scouting here with the Chinese start, off to a decent start here. Has to force drop, of course, to get that food going, but does 7 on sheep, as is customary for Chinese, to make sure you have consistent food production for further villagers. And also boars pretty close here, so shouldn't struggle too much with food for the Chinese start here. It looks like Sithari is kind of catching up though. But all in all, decent Chinese start, still keeping that villager lead a little bit. Finds a couple more sheep now, only missing the last 2 sheep, and should be good to go. Nicely en route to the last couple of sheep here. Sithari, on the other hand, is Vikings for this one. Not saving that one for 4 lakes with some water map there, but that's not going to be extensive water fighting necessarily on 4 lakes either. Solid sim for land maps as well. You get wheelbarrow and handcart instantly upon reaching feudal and castle ages, and strong infantry, and even though it doesn't say, you'd go into archers with Vikings as well, usually on land maps. So most common play would be going either for a drush or a man-at-arms opening and try to disrupt the enemy's opening here. Scout moving forward now, so I guess Sithari also has found the key resources here, both boars, bringing in the sheep, and now on the lookout for the enemy location, which is right around the corner. So pretty early scouting, may be afraid of, or actually shouldn't be afraid of a drush from the Chinese player, because that's one of the tactics that Chinese wouldn't do, a Dark Age rush, because you start with less food and wood to begin with, so that really doesn't make it easy to drop an early barracks to go for Dark Age militia against the opponent. And Sithari gets a little bit unlucky here in the scouting, but sees this stone, though that should be an indication that the enemy base is somewhere around here. And here there's the gold as well, but is that a neutral one? No, it's a 4-tile gold. So yeah, definitely should be an indication of the enemy location here now. Being forward this early with scout, you could probably snipe a few sheep or steal a few sheep if you're able. And if it were any other city than Chinese or Mayans, or arguably Goths, you'd find unloomed villagers at this stage usually, then you could get a few hits in and maybe kill a villager. Not an option against loomed villagers, of course. They are roughly as strong as the scout in the Dark Age with their little bit of armor and almost as much HP. But both players at 17 villagers, so Full Sender hasn't played Chinese opening to its full potential here. May have had some idle time, but also keeping the villagers somewhat close is great work with that Chinese start, of course. Chinese would go archers as well, maybe. Scouts not completely out of the question, but you'd be up a little bit later than typical scout civs with Chinese, albeit with more villagers and a stronger economy. But looking at Sithari's map here, I think the full wall is within potential. Nice little section between the wood lines here, could be walled, and then probably leave this gold out and just wall the section here, or wall so the aggression will be led towards the TC here. And just a few tiles away from walling in the berries here if needed, and as said, being up against Chinese, you're not too afraid about that Dark Age action or even men-at-arms for Chinese, not too common play from their side. Would be either straight archers or maybe scouts or maybe even fast castle, but I don't think Full Sender's map here allows for any fast castle attempt. Barracks is up for the Vikings player here now, going up at 22 pop, as is quite common for a men-at-arms build. Now just waiting for that food to allow for men-at-arms to create, and Could be straight archers as well, actually, with 22 pop here. Come to think of it, seeing 3 on gold like this, but here's the militia, so it's definitely going to be some kind of men-at-arms aggression here from Sithari. A good choice against Chinese. Also seeing this side of the base from Sithari has pretty decent scouting. Will lose the scout almost to TC fire here now, so that's obviously not ideal, but the general scouting intel is telling that Full Sender is not rushing the walls here. The men-at-arms will most likely get in, and also with the barracks semi-forward here, you will have a good point for the men-at-arms to hit as they come forward. One militia subject to scout's attack here, that's going to weaken it quite a bit. Losing this one might actually not justify the men-at-arms upgrade here, because then you're left with only 2 men-at-arms, and that upgrade costs 100 food and 40 gold. So now maybe Sithari will just bail on that men-at-arms upgrade and try to focus on dealing some damage yet with these 2. The Chinese is indeed going for a stable here. Quick walls in the building builders here. Rushes the stable up with 3 builders. But from the looks of it, I think Sithari will be full walled, at least more or less, by the time the Full Sender's scouts can reach this base. Let's have a look at the scouting as well. Full Sender knows the location, knows where to potentially hit as these militia here move forward. Going for the berries now, hoping for a little bit of damage output before the scouts are out in position here for Full Sender. Yeah, militia not accomplishing much, but not going into the men-at-arms obviously saves a little bit of food and gold for other purposes at home. Walls will be up, so the scouts of the Chinese player are not a threat at all here. One scout almost down, that's a very weakened one as well. I have a feeling that Full Sender might not invest into any more scouts here, especially not seeing soon that the walls are complete around Sithari's base here. Could be trying to break through and maybe deal some damage with the scout, but shouldn't take too long for Full Sender to realize that the full walls are indeed in place here and that you won't be able to deal any damage. You might as well just run around and scout the map instead. Villager count dead even though should tell something about the eco being not too dissimilar as well. Sithari floating a bit for resources, getting double attacks just now. Actually a little bit late, you usually get that right upon reaching feudal age, but not even the archer's follow-up here. I'm a bit surprised at that. So maybe it was planned as a drush all along, never planning those men-at-arms. Now with 6 on gold, I'm not sure what the plan is here, but it, from the looks of it, may be adapting to a more smoother cast age click here, because Full Sender is investing into the scouts, now with 5 scouts total actually. Scouts into skirms, adding skirms because of expecting Vikings to go into archers. But here's the spearman and the skirms, not ready forward here for Full Sender yet to take care of the enemy spearman. So with this setup for Sithari, we could actually see a pretty much earlier castle age over the Chinese here, so a power spike that could really be used to the Vikings' full potential here, even with no current army production capabilities. Scouts aren't really a threat, so why not just adjust your economy to facilitate that transition. Only missing 300 food now, and then and the buildings obviously. Blacksmith would be needed as well. But after that, Sithari will be ready to click that castle age. Spears will go down to skirms here, but with skirms and scouts is already a pretty huge food investment for Full Sender here. Looking at the food and gold here, pretty Sithari is currently floating, only missing 300 food now, 200 food almost for that Castle Age Applic. A defensive tower is forced though, it's the only skirms for now for the Chinese player, but that means that they have at least one archery range and could also make archers to send forward to threaten this gold, which is also the only gold that Sithari has within their grasp here. This gold is outside, this gold is outside. All 3 golds forward for Sithari, and this one right next to him. That's actually pretty bad, this map for Sithari in terms of gold. But this preemptive tower solves a lot for the time being, allows for these villagers to collect the gold safely, and until Full Sender can bring some siege onto the field, archers will have a hard time taking these villagers completely off gold. See the food count here getting dangerous close to that Castle Age click. Here's the blacksmith going up as well. That's going to be the last building needed before the actual Castle Age Applic. And look at the food count for Food Sender, going to be a little bit behind here. Quite a few farms though, those are Chinese farms as well. From the looks of it, going for some kind of cavalry follow-up here, even though the range is there. I think we'll be seeing knights and maybe skirms to complement them into the Castle Age here from Full Sender. Decent scouting intel for Sithari on the map as a whole here. No, sorry, that's Full Sender. For Sithari as well, getting making the most of the weak scout that is left here. Knows pretty much everything about the map that is to see, knows about the neutral walls, and generally good scouting overall. 2 range archers and clicking up to Castle Age at 1830. Yes, the Ghost, but Sithari hasn't made... okay, has quite a few archers actually, but I feel the ranges went up quite late and the farms were placed down before. So, and also the investment wasn't men at arm, this was 3 militia forward. So not that huge investment into gold and food there. But yes, Vikings eco is pretty insane. I think it's about resource disposition as well, to know exactly how to set it up, how much wood to spend into army and production here, and then imagine the click could have been even a little bit earlier if it had been, for example, 1 range blacksmith, or if the stable blacksmith had been merged up even more. Scouts will not be allowed in here. Castle Age is in, as Full Sender is 60% up. Going for double range actually, so going to probably answer with skirms here then, elite skirms to the Vikings forward, and then supply some knights maybe as well to tank arrow shots from the enemy and get skirms hits in. See the archer's armor coming in, that's the first one for Full Sender. That's Bodkin and crossbow is in for the Vikings, moving forward now with 14 soon to be fully upgraded archers, save for ballistics here, that's gonna come a bit later probably. I think Full Sender likes to go for all-ins though. This doesn't look that all-in to me though, but it's 1 TC, and that could shift the favors here, assuming that Sithari wants to go for multiple TCs, but from the looks of it, not just yet. I think they're both staying 1 TC here. You expect pretty much anyone with archers to pull down at least double range. Yeah, alright. Well, knights are suffering here early on. Full Sender is definitely going for skirms. He is behind here, he knows he was later to the next age, right? So this seems like full skirms here, and then maybe something to complement from the stable here. Second armor upgrade just kicked in, so the knights will be more tanky against arrow fire. And from the looks of it, already a good 10, 12 skirms total here, 15 maybe. And I didn't notice the second stable is actually double stables as well. Will be off 1 woodland here though, and this one isn't really an option too easily either. Could drop a TC here, yes, Full Sender once the wood allows. But for now, if Sithari comes over to this area, let's see if they... I think they scouted it earlier on. This is also very exposed to archer's fire. Nice spot of full sender there, using the scouts to see the villagers moving forward. Though I'm sure they wanted to drop a forward siege workshop. Not going to happen quite yet. But the crossbows should have an easy time sniping the scouts if the scouts get too close here. Full sender keeps them off for now. Pretty equal military numbers here between the players though, and keeping the army numbers consistent here. Elite skirm in for the Chinese player with fletching, no vodka just yet, but of course the defense is in, at least the first one, maybe the second one as well, I'm not sure here. And some scouts and knights to try and tank some crossbow fire while getting some skirm shots in. Shouldn't be moving too forward with these though, it's 16 skirms to 22 archers, so if Sithari has something to send here, say in the scouts or knights or whatnot, then it would still be a great fight for Sithari. Not the best engagement for full sender there, losing quite a few skirms to nothing. Honestly, the KD should be quite pretty for Sithari now. 18 to 10, consistently supplying crossbows of the two ranges. Defensive siege at home with a mangonel to accompany this. You could get some fine hits in on the skirms as well, but you still need to address the knights and light cab here. This is a best of 5, by the way, if anyone's wondering, so that's what's going on here. Skirms trying to take down TC, I don't think I've seen that before. Now the knights and scouts are out of position. That could be kind of hurtful here, but yeah, universities up, ballistics on the way for Sithari. That's going to give them an easier time sniping enemy cavalry units as well. Ooh, sneaky mangonel shot on the cavalry there. One knight got severely weakened, and still Sithari getting some good trades here with great micro abilities. More knights to the field now though, plus 2 knights, and there's roughly 10 total. There's one scout, yeah, 10 knights, one extremely weak though, might as well just be pulled home. Here comes the semi-forward siege workshop. I kind of like that placement actually, because in the event you'd need defensive siege at home, it's not that too far back home, right? Knights loop in to take the mangonels, will snipe those, that will come at the cost. The crossbows will deal with some knights here, but the skirms are behind to deal with crossbows as well, so I'm not sure who this is better for. Now it's better for Sithari with that mangonel shot there, but we'll still be losing some crossbows numbers here, which will need replenishment. It looks like spearmen are in the mix, no pikemen just yet. Full sender with more food in the bank, but generally spending resources more consistently on everything here, it seems. Looks like a pretty consistent flow of knights. That siege workshop should be out of Sithari's vision for now. So if a mangonel pops out here, that could be dangerous for these ball of archers. Sithari with the score lead, that is population lead overall, a good 15 lead there, and more kills. Mangonel gets a few of the skirmishers, but does not get the other mangonel, so that's definitely a better trade for full sender here. Skirm numbers, not could have been higher, I'd say though. Villager trying to snipe the mangonel there maybe, but not quite succeeding, as the move in to try and deal with crossbows here. And thanks for the follow, Wishcraft for you too. I appreciate it. Six knights, 11 skirms, and the mangonel, still a decent pusher. If you want to push DCs, I'd say you need more mangonels in the mix though, and there is one in the queue here. Full Sender seems to have upped his micro during the game here, though, is keeping more units away from danger here, and there dodges the Magnetic shot as well, but eventually they go down to Archer's fire, unfortunately. So I jinxed him a little bit there, I have to admit. 10 Knights, still could have been more skirms, I'd say. There are some chilling out over here, but as the Knights numbers grow as well, Full Sender does indeed have +2. So as the Knights numbers grow, it's becoming a possibility to deal with the crossbows, but then again you'd want probably to collect more of them before engaging. I think this castle goes up. There's too much army presence on the field here for Sithari not to get that one up, although there are 25 villagers building it. Sithari is also with almost 25 villagers lead here, so all in all, an investment that doesn't affect the difference between their economies that much. Quite a few expired farms here, though. There has been lots of focus on the micromanagement of army here for sure. Mangonel now chasing, but that's very, very exposed here. Crossbows out of position. Castle close for a fallback point, but I don't think it's going to be enough. That's an easy snipe for the Knights here. Let me double check Full Sender's skirm upgrades as well. He has only has the fuel edge armor actually, so his elite skirms would definitely benefit from more from the second armor upgrade here. Knights loop in now to maybe try and deal with this TC. They have +2, so they could sit under TC fire for quite a while. Here comes the second Mangonel as well. Looks like he might want it up on the hill here to deal with this one. But looking at the eco now, it's 3 TCs for Full Sender, but down 20 villagers, whereas the Vikings player is also with 3 TCs. Please tell me red is going for Zerks. Let's see. Well, the castle is there. The food setup is not so much allowing for that though. 13 on food is really pushing the limit as to how you could sustain consistent production, but that low food count also explains the Imperial Age up, but some builders will most definitely go down here to Mangonel and Knight's fire here. I think Sithari will just have to give up on this. Tried some repairs here, but it looks kind of tough. Mangonels will damage Full Sender's own units though, so this could go either way here. Imperial Age will kick in. This is a huge ball of archers that will get that Arbalest upgrade, and which should mean that Full Sender with this kind of eco will be behind 1H and will have to deal with Arbalests with cast H units. Arbalests will also outrange Mangonels should that time come. I feel like Full Sender could dive past the TC into the economy. Yes, that's probably why Sithari is stressing the stone gates and walls here to try and keep those raids out, because those raids would be devastating. Look at this farm eco here. No TC to fall back to, that's over here, so that's quite a bit of a walk. And, no, well, it's quite open on this side as well, so it's definitely raidable. This is a horrible goal, as I said earlier as well. You just push this with Mangonels from the hill and you're in a really bad spot. But in Sithari's defense, Imperial Age is 80%, soon to be 80%, so we'll have Arbalests here. And the overall eco looks fresh here. Could go for Berserks, as Karan Reme was hoping for here, because the food and gold certainly supports some kind of Berserk switch here for some raiding potential, maybe. It looks like still 3 TCs, but some farms extension here for Full Sender as well. Absolutely raidable on this side. No walls here anymore, but he is the aggressor, so probably not too worried here either. Therming on the way, and Arbalests being researched as well, and that's going to be a power spike to utilize for Sithari here with this mass of 46 crossbows, soon to be Arbalests with Bracer. Defense upgrades lacking though, but that's not what you stress with archers necessarily. Mangonel almost gets a lucky shot, but really it's Arbalest here before this becomes a good fight here. Knights could still loop in and deal some damage getting close, but of course, as Imperial Age is in, Full Sender will expect that Arbalest could kick in a minute. Zerks counter oranges in Taran Comp. How do they trade versus Knights though? I mean, I know there's the unique tech, the Berserker, no, the Chieftains, but that's quite an expensive one. But yes, they would deal with skirms, no problem, and also with siege, obviously. Let's have a look at Full Sender's eco again here. Nowhere near that. Imperial Age will have to rely on a military lead here. That doesn't look too bright either because Sithari has more numbers. Earlier Imp, 60 military against 53 right now, but the Knights will just fall like a paper mache to the ball of Arbalest here, one shooting them. Even with that +2 armor, that's usually good for Pierce armor. Sithari stays here and snipes the elite skirms actually. With Arbalest, could at the very least try and find a range advantage there and use that a little bit. But maybe not too worried here. Has 4 ranges producing more Arbalest now, has economy to sustain that for a while yet. Pretty consistent production here. Full Sender will be desperate for some raids and some more damage to Sithari's powerful Vikings eco here. Castle on the hill here also makes that difficult. Nice castle to protect his gold and to prevent any siege push from this hill here. Some nice quick walls underway as well. Let's see if Full Sender knows that there's actually an opening down here to the south. Well, who cares about openings when you can just run right past the TC? Full Sender is going to commit these 13 knights to try and raid the most exposed parts of Sithari's eco here. Full Sender should not have made the 3rd town sitter. He hasn't gotten benefit from it. He is with a significantly higher villager count though, so in the long run it's going to get him could gain him an eco advantage. That is assuming that he did research those town center upgrades as well. Wheelbarrow is in at least, not handcart. Yeah, TCs protect the villagers, right? So but now looks like most of the knights of Full Sender are down here. 10 cavalry left, 2 siege units, wherever they might be. They are pulled inside here. Scorpions will need the masses, obviously, to deal with all of units like this. But the largest issue is being stuck in the castle stage, having to invest into constant army, now being down half the army. Arbalest on the forward here now, protecting these 2 trebs, taking out production capabilities. That's going to be one stable down, limiting light cab production capabilities for raids here, and yeah, seems safe on the left side here. It's castles to protect the economy for Sithari here. This looks like Sithari's game. Unless something significant happens here. This trebuchet is really exposed, though. Villagers could tear this down, but here come the Arbs to protect it again, so should be okay. Scorpions, only 3 of them, so the Arbs should just snipe those on there. I'm sure they could one-shoot them anyway. Elite skirms being added as well, but the military count 60 to 30 here is very much worrying for Full Sender. Even with some good eco expansion on the map here, it's looking grim in terms of military numbers. Imperial Age on the way. Poods, look in that go to matchmaking in the Discord. Gold matchmaking, it should be there. I found the link there, so and I have it in my screen for after. I can't link it right now. So we have 50-ish to 20 here now. Sithari with a huge lead, military-wise. Not actually military-wise, so Full Sender is investing into economy here, trying to support Imperial Age as it comes in here. Defensive castle near the farm eco. I like that one. Chinese farms are great as well. They provide more food overall. So I'd argue that full sender would need a hand cart as well for full potential with that extra villager lead though. 20 villagers more when the opponent has had hand cart all along since entering cast stage. That's still a huge income difference. But there's definitely eco in the bank here. Stones for yet another castle after this one. And yeah, let's see what Imperial Age will bring for full sender. We'll get Bracer, I assume. I need to check that one as well. Bracer and armor for the skirms as needed, and MTC is here, yeah. Red should patrol micro instead of focus micro. Yeah, you're probably right. Here come the Berserkers though. So they are lacking attack upgrades, but have some defense here, and skirms may need to back off. I think they need more defense upgrades here. Something must be missing here. Imperial defense maybe. And they're not elite for that either. But with some more masses of berserks here and maybe squires, if it's not researched yet, will help out. Ooh, this would be a great place for a berserkers raid. Moving on. Full Center making use of some cavalry mobility here, taking some villagers off this wood line, keeping that 20 villager lead, but military is still of essence here. It's 75 to 59 now. Full Center with lots of production capabilities, did go exclusively into skirms for a while there, and still snipes berserks with the skirm masses here. I mean, map control wise, they're sharing the map here. This gold is extremely exposed though. I would argue that maybe a castle somewhere around here would be useful. Relic count is 2 for Full Sender as well, so that's some bonus gold income there for sure. None for Sithari for the time being. Here come the Berserkers to raid this one. Perfect outpost placement there for Sithari, revealing that there is in fact gold being taken over here. So these almost 20 villagers are goners with this Berserk raid. Great raid. Should have gone full skirm with my Castle Age unique tech. Light cover raiding. Yeah, but the castles with ballistics kind of limit the potential of light cover raids. Maybe in from this side would be a good one. That would be a next level move to sneak in here, some raids. Stables in the corner here and raid in from the side. Wow, Full Center actually cleaned up a little bit here, still taking gold here. And Berserkers will not succeed here in the midst of this army. Taking a hill here with the skirms, that's going to mean some arbalest kills as well if Sithari isn't careful. Sithari with the marginal army lead here. We look at the KD, 100 more kills though. Not too sure how we... Oh, Mangonels come, get some hits in on the skirms here, and you limit the defensive potential of Full Sender to a large extent here. Yeah, not the greatest value of these Mangonels. There's something going on here though. Castle on the hill, some farm eco to the sides and berserker raids, but well-placed castle of Full Sender here as well to protect a bit of this woodland and limit raids on this side from berserkers and whatnot. I think we have a comeback here. I mean, there was some villagers lost again. Let's look at the ecos. Wow, Sithari is completely off gold, out of gold. No relics for Sithari, 2 relics for Full Sender. And this gold is for now within Full Sender's grasp. Sithari will really need to reclaim this one, because in around the main base, no gold whatsoever. Arm numbers decreasing as well. There's a limit to how long you could fight elite skirms with arbs and get away with it, considering the food counts. So using the market here, as you can see, selling some food probably for gold income. Another trap, but the full sender hasn't really been hit at home at all here. And judging from the gold count, there's not really any option to go for siege trams here for Sithari. So the push will be limited. Two trams forward for full sender, some elite skirms here to protect them, but that's not going to stop the berserkers from sniping them somewhat with ease though. Looks like the last armor upgrade is in as well, so they will obviously tank more elite skirm shots here. Two relics for full sender, none for Sithari. Let's look at full sender's eco overall as well. 5 gold miners, 40, 60 on food, and look at all that stone. Could sell the stone for gold if needed as well, because the stone selling prices should be pretty decent. 91 gold per 100 stone. But would of course want to claim more map control with castles here. I think all the arbs are... Did all the arbs go down here or what happened? Sithari is down to 17 military now. Full sender is holding on here and has a massive military lead now. That's some impressive Chinese play from full sender. Didn't have a stellar start, not bad either, but scouts opening basically did nothing for him. But now looking at the military situation, not population necessarily. Military counts pretty even. Yeah, the 40 pop lead total, but lots more military. 3 times the military for full sender now, even if that's just mainly trash, skirmishers and stuff. The opponent's also going to be forced into trash mainly. Some raids here from full sender on the wood line. Going to be even more villagers lost for Sithari here. And on the right hand side, we have a bit of a trap war between the castles here. Sithari has only 91 stones to repair, whereas full sender has still 900, so you could repair this one forever. So it's a very strong defensive play from full sender here. Very patient play, keeping the Vikings push out, going straight skirm all the way from feudal age, preparing for that double range archers, or actually crossbows from Sithari, who was earlier to both the castle and imperial ages here. Siege workshop from the Vikings will go down here. Full sender still mining gold somewhere as well. That's probably this gold, keeping some army close just in case of any raids over here. So that's some nice army presence to have. Meanwhile, Sithari going into barracks here, probably going to go into pikes then against the cavalry plays from full sender. Could be that light cav raids are being prepared here from the hill. That could also be the death blow to Sithari's eco, which doesn't look too bad overall now, but population still 30-40 behind here. And there's the GG. Full sender takes the game at the lower score, but looking at the map here with all these orange dots, did a great job defending and defending the core economy and expanding as the game goes, using the mobility of Chinese cavalry units to the best of their ability, and taking out a castle here, I believe, and lots of elite skirms did the job here against the arbs of Sithari. But Sithari never really reached full sender's core economy, right? Never really hit these this farm eco. Didn't get any further than here really. So that's a great defensive play by full sender. I think Sithari could have gone into some kind of raiding unit earlier, whether it be berserkers or some kind of cavalry Vikings. However you look at it, they still have light cab for the raiding potential as well. But it's going to be a 1-0 for full sender here. Let me put that one into the score tab here. And then let's see what's going to be the next here. Exclamation mark maps for the home maps of the players. KD 401 to 333 for Sithari here. So had the KD had the largest army at some point. Did fight elite skirms with arbs a lot of the time though. Full sender kind of with an eco lead in the end. Villager high. above the Vikings, and up times, especially Imperial Age, a lot later from Food Center. Something that Sithari could and should have used to their advantage, considering that they also had the military lead by far at some stages of that game. But we see lots of military and battle events here throughout the game anyway, and Sitari losing huge numbers here, being a game changer.